Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is to test to see if these chemicals, these 5 organic chemicals, will burn. So I'm going to take first of all some of the ethanol. Here I have ethanol, which you can see is a colourless clear liquid. Let's record the smell of this liquid. So as I smell that, it can be described simply as an alcohol type smell, or you can indeed describe it as a relatively pleasant smell. That's ethanol. So record that. Ethanol has a pleasant smell. It has an alcohol type smell. If this was a non-known substance, it would be satisfactory to describe it in those terms. I'm going to pour a little bit of this colourless clear liquid ethanol out into an evaporating basin. And we've got to be careful here with flammable chemicals. So I'm being very careful with my source of ignition, and you'll notice that we have stoppers and all the other chemicals here. So if I bring in different background here to help us see this, and light a splint, okay, and let's see how we can ignite this now. And it ignites immediately. So the liquid is clearly very flammable. What colour would we record there? It's a yellow flame. And we should look to see whether the flame is sooty. I would not describe this as a sooty flame. Maybe small amounts of black smoke, but very little. I would not describe it as a very energetic flame, but it's certainly flammable, burning with a yellow or orange yellow flame, and we describe that as a clean flame. We can't see any real sign here, or very little sign of the white dish turning black, maybe dulling slightly. So that's our ethanol. Let's take the glacial ethanoic acid, see if it is flammable. Again, let's take a look at its physical appearance. It's a colourless clear liquid. In terms of its smell, in its concentrated form, it can be described as having an acrid smell, also of course described as having a vinegar type smell, strong vinegar smell. Let's pour some of this out into the dish, the evaporating dish, and now I'm going to try to ignite it with the lighted splint. And no, there's no sign of glacial ethanoic acid being flammable. Let's go to the third organic liquid, which is an ester. This is ethyl ethanoate. Its physical characteristics, it's a colourless clear liquid. In terms of its smell can be described as a pleasant smell, described as a fruity smell, described as the smell of fruit drops. I would go for one of the following two: a fruity smell or the smell of fruit drops. Pour a little bit of this then into the evaporating basin, just a few cubic centimeters. Put the stopper on, and let's see if this will burn in air. Keeping my ignition source well away. So let's see if this will ignite. And right away catches fire, burning rather like the ethanol we saw earlier, burning with a yellow flame or yellow-orange flame. And that flame, I think you can see, is quite a clean flame in fact. Ethyl ethanoate, of course, has its own built-in oxygen there, CH3COO, C2H5. That helps it to burn. And again, like ethanol, it's burning with a clean flame. Not seeing much evidence there of any black smoke. Perhaps a little blackening of the dish around the top there. Just a little bit more soot therefore than in the case of ethanol. Next, let's take a look at ethanol, the aldehyde. This here is ethanol. It's a colourless clear liquid again, and its smell is described as having a sour apple smell or a rotting fruit smell. Pour a little bit of that into a fresh evaporating basin. A little bit too much there. A few drops. Using a lighted splint, we'll see if it ignites. And it ignites immediately, as you see. Burning once again with this yellow flame or yellow-orange flame. Burning with what I would describe as, again, a clean, relatively clean flame. Not very much in the way of a black deposit inside either, just a little bit perhaps. And lastly, in this case, let's take a look at propanone. Here's propanone, a colourless clear liquid. Propanone apparently is a smell given off in the breath of people who might be beginning to suffer from diabetes, and during the famine, when people hadn't enough food to eat, it seems that this was also characteristic on the breath of people suffering from starvation. It's an indication that metabolism begins to change. So let's pour a little bit of propanone out into the dish. Just a few drops. And using a lighted splint again, and immediately you can see the propanone catches fire. Burning again with quite a clean flame, little sign of any black smoke or soot, and very little, just a little bit of black deposit on the inside of the dish, indicating some unburnt carbon or soot.